Hello, you beautiful people. I want to focus today on this concept of thou art that, or you are that, and so am I. So, to begin, I want to take a look at some of the deities that we find in Hinduism. Uh, Brahman, for most Hindus, Brahman is the totality, is the source of all that is. And the 300 plus million deities within Hinduism. Each of them is, if you will, a different aspect or a different face of Brahman. Each one of them has a particular function, and it is one of the functions of the totality of the whole. So that's one of the ways of understanding these deities. The Hindus have, as I said, many of the deities that are small village deities. Very few people know about them. And then you have those that most people are aware of. And then you have the great ones that everyone knows. The Trimurti is a group of three deities that are known by all Hindus. So the first is Brahma. Brahma is the creator. Um, we talked the other day about this world as Lila, emerging out of God's play, and so God, Brahman, Brahma, the creative aspect of Brahman, is constantly playing hide and seek with herself in order to find herself. And so this life is meant to be a game, and the game itself, the playing, is its own reward. So Brahma is the creator. The sustainer is Vishnu. This is a god that's seen as the sleeping god, and Vishnu's dream is the universe. So you'll see down here this image of the blue god laying on the back of a multiple-headed serpent, and out of the belly button, if you will, of Vishnu grows a lotus. Sitting on the lotus is Brahma, the creator. You also see at the feet of Vishnu his consort or his wife, Lakshmi, who is the goddess, seen as the goddess of prosperity. I've also heard it called Lakshmi, pronounced Lakshmi. But this serpent and these deities are floating on the ocean of consciousness. Now, Vishnu is one who incarnates, in other words, comes down to earth in some of the stories, and for some, believed to be historical figures. So I've mentioned Krishna is one of the avatars or the incarnations of Vishnu. Another of the incarnations is Rama or Ram, who is a king, and Lakshmi becomes an incarnation, incarnates as Sita in the story of the Ramayana, which I'll share some more with you later. The third person or god of the Trimurti is Shiva. Shiva is the destroyer. So Brahma creates, Vishnu sustains, and Shiva destroys. Now, what's interesting in Hinduism is the destroyer is beloved. Shiva is beloved. The destroyer, the destructive aspect of Brahman is not seen as something evil. Yes, the destruction can cause pain, but it's also the creation of beauty. I mean, if we look at the Columbia River Gorge, this gorge, this place of great beauty. In fact, for me, it's I've traveled a lot in various parts of the world, and there is almost no place that I can think of that is more beautiful than the Columbia River Gorge. And yet, this gorge was born out of great violence. If you look back at the last ice age, as the last ice age was coming to a close, there was a series of floods called the Missoula floods, which carved out this, what was probably a river through the what we now know as the Cascade Mountains, and these series of floods blasted through this area, and you can read in the sides of the gorge here the violent history of these Missoula floods. So this Shiva, the destroyer, is destroying the finite in order to make room for the infinite. So Shiva gets rid of the things that are in our way, helping us to actually see our true nature. So this destruction leads to beauty. Shiva also incarnates, and one of the incarnations is Hanuman. Hanuman is this god that has a human body and an ape head. And Shiva has a couple of consorts or spouses. Durga is his spouse in her fierce form, and Parvati is the goddess in her benevolent form. So there are many other deities here. Kali. Kali is one of the most beloved figures in all of Hinduism. She's often pictured as a woman who is blue with long flowing hair. And she has around her a necklace made up of human heads, severed human heads. Her tongue's hanging out. You'll see numerous arms there which indicate her power. And in one of them is this bloody scimitar. And she goes around killing. She's part of this destructive force. Now, one of the stories is that she was born out of the brow of Durga, the fierce goddess, and she has become a berserker. A berserker is someone who in battle just goes absolutely nuts. And one of the stories has her killing on a battlefield, even to the point where her father, the god of destruction, Shiva, is really worried that she's going to go too far. And so he throws himself under her feet to try and stop her, so that when she goes to kill him, she recognizes him and stops. So Kali is this beloved figure. Now Ganesh is another of the most beloved goddesses, or gods, I should say, of Hinduism. Human body, elephant head. He is the Lord of success, and he's also associated with education, knowledge, wisdom, and wealth. Now, the story of Ganesh receiving this elephant head is he is the child of Shiva and Parvati. Parvati is Shiva's spouse in her gentle form. And so the story goes that Shiva had gone off to do his duties, and he was gone for quite a while. And Parvati is at home and decides that she wants a companion, so she creates a child and names him Ganesh. So Shiva eventually comes home on the night that Parvati is taking a bath, and Ganesh is standing guard over her bathroom so that no one comes in and interrupts Parvati's bath. And so when Shiva comes up, Ganesh stops him and says, "You cannot go in." And what Shiva does is whips out his sword and slices off the head of this guard and goes in to see Parvati. And Parvati is just beside herself. "What have you done? What have you done?" She says, "That was our son." And she was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't know. I promise I'm going to make it right." And so he goes out and declares that he'll cut off the head of the first creature he finds and revivify, bring back to life his son Ganesh. And the first thing he sees is this elephant, which is a revered creature in Hinduism, and places the head on top of Ganesh and brings him back to life. So that's why Ganesh has an elephant head. Now, we have to be careful here. Remember, these are very symbolic stories. So we could, rationally ask, why didn't he just bring back, he said, if he could revivify his son, why not bring him back with his regular head? I don't know what the answer is to that. And again, when we're talking about these mythological stories, we kind of set things like that aside. So there are other gods. I've mentioned Indra. I'll not spend any more time on him right now. He is no longer like in the higher echelon of Hindu consciousness as one of the great gods. He's still a powerful god, but not like one of the top. So this is leading us to this question of, well, who am I then? And we have this concept of Atman. Atman is the equivalent, if you will, of the soul that we see in Christianity and in the religions of the book. You'll notice the lowercase a and the uppercase a. The lowercase a is my personal Atman, my personal soul that is going through life after life in order to wake up to its true nature. And its true nature is, it is Atman with a capital A. It is the soul of the whole, the soul of Brahman. It is not separate from that. So each one of us has an Atman. Now, this idea is we're waking up to who we truly are. And then there is this part of us that we will eventually become aware of that is an observer or a witness to all that's happening in the world and is not impacted emotionally by anything that is happening to us personally or in the world around us, that we're able to stay centered in our true nature, which is that we are one with the all. When we look at an individual life, we'll see the Hindus honor 4 different main stages. The first stage is the student stage when we're children and we're learning about this world. And then the second stage is the householder. This is when we marry, when we go out and have children and have a career. And then the third stage is that of retirement, sometimes called the forest dweller. So when our children are grown and they're starting to start their own careers, the person removes themselves from public life in order to make room for, make space for the young so that they can build their households and their careers. And the forest dweller traditionally would go off into the forest to go inward, to focus more on their spiritual life so that they can come back in the 4th stage, back into community, but no longer be affected by what's going on in the world. And they can be the wise one, the mentors for the householders and the students. So this is in a single human life. But there's also this idea of the stages of the Atman. The Atman, remember, is this soul. And in Hinduism, the Atman reincarnates time after time. The same Atman, once I die, my Atman is going to be reincarnated as another creature. So the Atman goes through its own stages on its way to achieving moksha, to achieving enlightenment. So the Atman in its early stages is focused on sensual pleasures. And the interesting thing about Hinduism is it encourages people to enjoy the senses. We are sensual creatures. We experience this life through our senses. So enjoy the pleasures, enjoy the food, enjoy the drink, enjoy sex. It's all meant to be part of our journey and meant to be beautiful. Now, please try not to hurt anybody, the Hindus say, because if you do hurt someone, not only are they going to be in pain, but you're going to suffer and gain negative karma. We'll talk more about karma later. And you're going to have to pay that off, not as a punishment, but rather as just a natural consequence of doing harm to someone in the pursuit of your pleasure. You're going to have negative consequences. So don't do that. Don't harm other people. Now, eventually, the Hindus say, the pursuit of pleasures that once made us feel really good, it's not going to make us feel good anymore. That cookie, that chocolate chip cookie, once you eat so many of them, it's no longer very pleasurable. And then you're going to start looking around for what there must be something more to life than this. And that will naturally lead the Atman into the next realm, the next focus, which is a focus on power. This could be economic power, political power, military power, different kinds of power. So the Hindus say, go for it, pursue power and use it to be of service to others. Try not to hurt people, otherwise, you're going to gain negative karma that you'll have to eventually pay off. Use power for good. But eventually people will come to the point where even when they're using power for the best reasons, they're going to find, gosh, there's something more. There's something more that I want. And what is it? And when you start asking that question, what is it? It's going to lead you eventually into the next focus, which is on service, on dharma. And this is where we find our purpose, our satisfaction in being of service to other people. But even that will eventually lead us to feel like, gosh, there's something more. What is it? I've been doing all of this great things. I've been, as Mother Teresa, serving the poor, but there's something more. And that leads the Atman eventually into the fourth focus, which is on release from this particular life. Moksha, waking up to our connection to the whole, is our main goal. And eventually we have to release even our attachment to service and focus on this release. And that eventually will lead the Atman to its release from this life. So that's the four stages of the Atman. If we ask the question, who am I? This concept the Hindus put forward to us is, thou art that. Whatever you see in the world, whatever you see out there is also in here. You are not separate from that. Remember, you are Brahman. Everything is Brahman. And so, you are whatever you see, the beautiful, the ugly, the mundane. We are all of it. And so I'm not going to ask you to do this, answer this journal question down at the bottom, but consider it. If it's true that I am you and that I am everything I see in the world, the beautiful and the ugly and everything in between, how might that affect the way you live your life? Something to consider. Here's something that Gandhi said. We but mirror the world. All the tendencies present in the outer world are to be found in the world of our body, inside our own body. If we could change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change. As a man changes his own nature, so does the attitude of the world change towards him or her. This is the divine mystery supreme. A wonderful thing it is, and the source of our happiness. We do not need to wait to see what others do. As we change, evolve inside, and become more of what our best self, if you will, the more the world is going to change in the way it interacts with us. And the more we will see the world differently. We will see the world through other eyes. Now I'm going to lead us through an activity called Thou Art That. And this is going to be one of your tasks for the day. And then we'll come together on Monday to wrap this up. So in this activity, there are two main parts. In the first part, I want you to make a list of, first things, the qualities you see in yourself. What are the qualities you see in yourself that you love about yourself? The ones that just make you really happy to be alive. Maybe you're passionate. Maybe you're intelligent, courageous. But also in this list, include the ones that you don't love about yourself, the ones that kind of repel you, you wish you didn't have, you hope no one sees. Maybe you're living in fear. Maybe you're someone who is a bully. You're bullying others because you are hurting. Maybe you see something in yourself, something else. Go ahead and include these. No one's going to see this list. No one's going to share. I'm not going to share anything. You're not going to share them with me this time unless you want to. So pause for a moment and make this list. Next, I want you to think of one person that you love. You adore them, and maybe it's someone that you know personally. Maybe it's someone from history that you really respect. Maybe it's a fictional character. But what is it that you love about this person? What are the qualities this person possesses? So take a moment to record those. Now, write down the qualities of someone that you despise. You don't need to name them. I don't want you to share names when we come back together in class, but think of this person that you despise. Again, someone you know personally, someone from history, a character from fiction. What are the qualities this person possesses that you absolutely despise? All right, so that's all for today. When we come back together on Monday, bring this list of qualities that you see in yourself that you love, that you despise, or that make you uncomfortable. maybe qualities that you wish you had. Bring the qualities of the person you love and the qualities of the person that you hate, that you despise. And I look forward to unpacking this further. We'll wrap up this experience of Thou Art That on Monday. Until then, be well. You're beautiful, and you're everything else. And I love you.